Hey there, Samitian here, and welcome back to Morrowind. Last time
May the wind be on your back.
Thank you. Last time I became the Zainab Nerevarine, meaning I have been named Nerevarine of the 4 Ashlander tribes, and been named Hortator of the 3 Great Houses. So I can finally continue with the main quest and get the temple over there to stop being all mad at me. There might be some like minor discrepancies? That's not the right word. What's the word where things are different? Discrepancies. I was kind of right almost between my stats because I forgot to save after last video, so I had to keep escorting the slave bride lady to the Zainab chief, and I killed some different things than I did the first time. Notably, I killed a golden saint and got some more equipment to put into my tent and never sell. But today we do have a Golden Saint soul, so the first thing I'm going to do before we continue with the quest is to get something enchanted over here. I believe I'm going to try enchanting the lunar stuff that I have, just to see if the enchantability is better. So let me see here. The lunar right gauntlet. No, the enchantability is exactly the same as glass, so no particular reason to enchant a lunar thing instead of a glass thing. I'm going to keep going with Fortify Strength. I need to put this soul in first so that it can be constant effect. I just like Fortify Strength too. It's cheap-ish. It's only 5,000 gold, and I've got plenty of loot to sell. And it gives me more inventory space, and it gives me more damage. I just think Fortify Strength is good, so it's a fun name for legs that give strength. Leg Day. Yeah, that's... Leg Day would probably fortify endurance, but whatever. I'm gonna buy this. And I'm gonna sell some stuff to get my money back. Give me some random scrolls just to even out the money a bit. Thank you.
You flatter me with your attention, Outlander.
Let's just dump all this stuff that I just bought. I still haven't like fixed my inventory at all. I have a lot of scrolls, the majority of which I'm never ever going to use that I need to deposit in my house. But I haven't done that yet because I am lazy. And I love being lazy. So yeah, these are just going to be taking up a lot of weight for a while. While I'm speaking of weights, let me repair my stuff. And now we can go to Vivec and talk to... Who am I talking to here? What's the name of this quest again? God, I have so many quests. Is it this one? No. Into trouble? No. Not this one. God, what is the name of the main quest that I'm currently on? I don't remember. It's not this one. It's probably not the random Nerevarines. This is a mod quest. Mod. This one. Okay. So I need to talk to the healer of the High Fane, Danso Indulus. Okay. Danso Indulus. Let's go find him. He'll be in Vivec. My quest log is very full, and it's probably going to continue to be full for the rest of my life. I doubt I'm ever going to finish all of these
What do
quests,
you need, friends?
and I probably shouldn't finish all of these quests. The cool thing about Bethesda games is you can like do a lot of stuff, but not everything, and still feel like you've done enough. You know what I mean? Don't need to do everything. How's my frame rate today? It feels like every time I go to Vivec, there's like... it's random whether my frame rate dips or not. I'm sure it isn't random. I'm sure like it spawns like a random number of NPCs around to simulate like a real city. And sometimes there's too many. One day my restoration will be a good level. One day. Hey, I have a nice chance to cast the spell. It's because there is a mod that affects spell leveling, so if you cast a spell that costs less, it gives you less XP than vanilla. I believe the baseline is 10, so if you cast a 10 Magicka spell, it should give you
Wealth beyond measure.
as many EXP points as you would normally get. Here's the High Fane.
Do you want something?
You're not the person I'm supposed to talk to. Where's the person that I'm supposed to talk to?
You talk
Not
too
you.
much, Outlander.
Spit it out or hit the road.
Yeah, you don't like me. Got it. Where is this guy that I'm looking for, whose name I've already forgotten? You don't know? Okay.
Ah, hello.
Rabentic.
Did you want something?
Okay.
Do you want something?
Are you the person? No. God, who the fuck am I supposed to talk to? Valura
hello.
Lurvu.
Did you want something?
Valura
Whatever you're
Lurvu.
looking
Say what you
for, I'm
want,
sure
I'll go.
I don't know how to find it.
Wait, this door is locked.
Say what you
It
want.
did say
or
she's
go
in the
away.
High Fane, right? Oh, no. This is not the person I'm supposed to talk to. Danso Indulus. That lady was the lady from the quest
Spit it out or hit the road.
All
that
right.
I just did.
I'm listening.
What, Outlander? Why do you disturb
Where is
me?
this Danso Indulus person? He's got to be in here, but this door is locked, which is rather annoying. And I can fix this.
What, Outlander? Why do you disturb me?
Okay, it does say that this guy's in the High Fane, right? Should speak with the healer of the High Fane of Vivec. Danso Indulus.
You talk.
Are they out here somewhere? I seem to remember having trouble. Yes, okay. I would like to meet the Archcanon. The Archcanon is in his private quarters, and he very much wishes to speak with you, but I am to warn you, avoid confrontations with the Ordinators at all costs. The Archcanon has spoken with the High Fane Ordinators, but if you are a wanted criminal, they may try to arrest you. If the blood of faithful servants of the temple is spilled, it will make a reconciliation all that much more difficult.
Whatever you're looking for.
Don't
I'm
kill the
sure I
guards.
don't-
Got it. Hello. Thank you for coming, Sharia Lightfoot. You know the temple's doctrine on the Nerevarine. Perhaps it is time to change that doctrine. Tell me more. The Temple must protect the people from false doctrines, and your association with Imperial intelligence makes your motivations and integrity suspect. But you have been chosen Hortator in Nerevarine by the Dunmer people, and we have reached a crisis with Dagath-Ur. We can no longer defend the people against the awakened Sixth House. You and your prophecies may represent our last hope. Our situation is desperate, but I would rather have you hear the details of our situation and the circumstances leading up to that situation from Lord Vivec himself. He has asked to see you. Would you agree to a private meeting with him and hear in person what he has to say? Sure. Good. Here are 2 keys, one to the private back entrance to my quarters, the other to a locked entrance to Lord Vivec's palace. I regret that, at present, the Ordinators are not completely under my control, so for now I'll ask you to avoid confrontations with them. Lord Vivec is expecting you. His lordship is remarkably patient, but perhaps it would be better not to keep him waiting. So, now we are heading to meet with Lord Vivec, one of the 3 gods of the Tribunal. Gods in... perhaps there's a few quotation marks there, but he is powerful enough to stop that in the sky. So let's go talk to him, but before I do that, let me... Oh, the voices are already all the way up. Let me turn up the master volume a bit and turn down everything else a little so that the voices are that much louder. And here we have him, Vivec.
I expected you. We have business, you and I. When I was young like you, I was very impatient, so I will keep our business short. Then, later, there may be time for other things. First, I propose to remove my curse upon the Nerevarine, end the persecution of the dissident priests, and proclaim to all Morrowind that you are the incarnate and Nerevarine, the prophesied savior of Morrowind, and the last hope to withstand the menace of Dagath-Ur and the Sixth House. These things I will do, whether you wish or not. Next, I propose to surrender to you the power and responsibility of defeating Dagath-Ur. You may choose to refuse. I will not compel you. You will receive the power as a gift in the form of an artifact called Wraithguard. You may accept the gift, then do with it as you will. You will receive the responsibility as an oath. You may give your oath, then keep it or break it as you like. First, will you accept Wraithguard as a gift?
Yes, I will accept Wraithguard and give my oath that I will defeat Dagath-Ur.
Good. Sensible of you. And now will you give your oath before all gods and men, before all spirits visible and invisible, before my honor and your honor, to dedicate yourself and Wraithguard to the defeat and destruction of Dagath-Ur and the preservation of Morrowind and its people.
This guy's voice is very quiet, I feel.
Not very sensible, but very good. I was hoping for someone who would have no hesitations about making such an oath. You will now have a brief momentary sensation of time passing. Don't be alarmed. You are being taken out of time in order to avoid the unpleasant experience of learning how to use Wraithguard. It will be over before...
There is a brief sensation of motion in total darkness, floating but without a sense of weight or direction.
You know it now. I will notify the temple that you are our champion. There shall be no more persecution of the dissident priests, and I hope both sides shall swiftly be reconciled. We have time for questions if you like, or you may leave as you wish. But I think there are at least 2 things you ought to know before you leave. How to use Wraithguard, and how to defeat Daggothor.
So now we've got a bunch of questions we can ask this God King, God Man. So let's start by asking him how to defeat Daggothor.
To defeat Daggothor, go to Red Mountain to recover the artifact Hammer Sunder from Gate Citadel Verminal. Then, recover the artifact Blade Keening from Gate Citadel Odrosal. Then, proceed with Great Guard, Sunder, and Keening to the Citadel Daggothor. Within the Citadel, find the heart of Lorkhan. Use the 3 artifacts to sever Daggothor's connection to the heart, and he will be destroyed, and the Blight ended on Morrowind. To destroy Daggothor, you must sever his connection with the heart of Lorkhan. To do this, strike the heart with the artifact Hammer Sunder once. Then, strike the heart more than once with the artifact Blade Keening. You must wear Wraithguard, because you cannot handle either Sunder or Keening unless you are wearing Wraithguard. That is the short, simple explanation. Here is the long, detailed explanation, written down for your convenience. Read it, study it, commit it to memory.
So to defeat Daggothor, we must obtain the Hammer Sunder and the Dagger Keening, and use them to destroy the Heart of Lorkhan, which is the object that the Dwemer made to basically become immortal gods. And becoming immortal gods is bad, unless you're Vivec, apparently, in which case becoming an immortal god is good. You're doing it for the people, right? The Tribunal are good people, helping the people, or something, I don't know. So yeah, we need to get a hammer and we need to get a dagger. The dagger should be easy to use since our short blade is so high, but our blunt weapon skill is rather low. We only need to use the hammer once, so we don't need to get it that high, but I'd still like to get my blunt weapon up a little bit first. Now let's talk to him about some other things. Let's ask him about Red Mountain.
In my library, I have made available 2 conflicting accounts of the events of Red Mountain. My own true account, and another false account common among the Ashlanders and preserved in the Apocrypha. I don't care whether you believe my account or not. I leave it up to you to judge which is true.
Where is this library?
I want your trust and willing cooperation, so I've had the priest make copies of a number of documents. They're here for you to read or take with you. Take a look at them. Help yourself.
Okay, what about Daggothor?
Daggothor is the former Lord High Counselor of House Daggoth. He was of Lord Nerevar's generation, older than we, and a mighty sorcerer and enchanter in life. In his sustained shadowy mortality, he appears to be a highly intelligent, severely deluded immortal monster with unparalleled supernatural abilities. He appears by turns lucid and deranged, compassionate and bestial, profoundly wise and profoundly disordered. In short, he is a mad god.
Fair enough. What about the Dwemer?
I have no idea what happened to the Dwemer. I have no sense of them in the timeless divine world outside of mortal time. And, in fact, if I did believe they existed, I would be in no hurry to make contact with them. They may, with some justice, hold the Dunmer race responsible for their fate. My intuition is that they are gone forever, and that is perfectly fine with me.
You know, except for the one that we found. You know that one?
You need to know, where is Daggothor? What are Daggothor's plans? Who are Daggothor's servants? Who is Daggoth War? What are Daggoth War's powers? What is known about Daggoth War's defenses? How can I prepare for battle against Daggoth War? Who can help?
Alright, let's go with these in order, sort of. So where is Daggoth?
Daggoth War has never ventured out of the Heart Chamber, the place on the Red Mountain where the heart of Lorkhan lies. It is there, or nearby, that he is constructing a new god, Akula Khan, also known as Second Numidium.
So this is new information to us. Daggoth is trying to build a new god. The Dwemer, before they disappeared, were attempting to use the Heart of Lorkhan to create a god. And that's a no-no for the Divine. So Vivec and the rest of the Tribunal stopped them, and in their infinite wisdom, they decided to become gods themselves, to help guide the people of Morrowind. Now, whether or not they betrayed Nerevar and Daggoth, or whether or not Daggoth or Nerevar died during the fight, that's up for debate. Do you believe Vivec, or do you believe what the Dissonant Priests believe, that the Tribunal betrayed Lord Nerevar? So let's see, what are Daggoth's plans?
We know nothing for sure, but we have learned much from interrogating Sixth House cultists and victims of dream compulsions, and from our study of Daggoth Or's actions. The Temple Scholars and Inquisitors have prepared a document, Daggoth Or's plans, that summarizes what we know or suspect. Take this copy. It's also available in my library.
Okay, what about Daggoth's servants?
Chief among his servants are his 7 brothers, the Ash Vampires, powerful Heartwights and cunning sorcerers of old. These creatures appear to die, but always are revived at the heart. Somehow Daggoth Ur has conferred some portion of his immortality upon them, or perhaps they sustain themselves through more conventional sorcery.
So we've defeated a couple of Ash Vampires before, but according to Vivec here, they just come back at the heart. So we're probably going to have to fight them again. What's next? We've already talked about Daggoth. What about Daggoth's powers?
He is able to send his mind into the dreams of susceptible victims across vast distances. The victims are either swayed by his compulsions or driven mad. He also seems nearly invulnerable to physical and magical harm. His flesh, and the flesh of his followers, evolves towards a mutable, magical form. Daggoth Ur and the highest ranks can control the distorted manifestations of their flesh. Lower ranks lose control of their bodies and become mindless, corpus monsters.
So Daggoth and his highest ranks get some magical bullshit with their flesh powers. And then the lower ranking ones can't handle that and just turn into the corpus monsters that we've been defeating all this time. So what about his defenses?
Confer with the Ordinators and Buoyant Armigers, garrisoning Ghost Gate, for the latest information about the defenses of the citadels of Daggoth Ur and his Heartwight kin.
Okay, fair enough. How can I prepare for battle?
Prepare for war. Beyond the Ghost Fence, there are no safe places, no allies. Stockpile resources, plan for retreat and replenishment, quest for artifacts of power.
Okay, fair enough. There's nothing that will help me in the Ghost Gate. I'm basically going to do the same thing I always do when I go in through the Ghost Gate and into Red Mountain. I'll do some dungeons, teleport back to my tent, deposit my shit, go back, etc., etc.
Ordinators and Buoyant Armigers stationed at Ghost Gate have the most practical knowledge of the nightmare world inside the ghost fence. Seek them in my name for counsel and aid.
Okay, so I think I've already talked about these threes. Oh, this one doesn't have voice acting. Actually, I believe we finished our business. I will notify the temple that you are our champion. There shall be no more persecution of the dissident priests, and I hope both sides will swiftly be reconciled. Now you are my guest. I am your host, and we have time for explanations, or counsel, or questions, or bitter recriminations, if you like. What the fuck does that word mean? I don't know what that word is. Or you may leave if you wish, as you wish, but I think before you leave you should hear how to defeat Dagathur and how you must use the artifact Wraithguard. Okay, so what does this word mean?
You want to chide me. Why did I murder Nerevar? Why did I break my oath to Azura not to use Kagranak's tools? Why did I cause others to suffer?
Well, he just straight up admitted that he did kill Lord Nerevar.
We did not murder Nerevar. The legend that we murdered Nerevar comes from a story told by a shield companion to Nerevar, Alandro Sol, who lived among the Ashlanders. The Ashlanders have retained Alandro Sol's account as part of their oral histories. The account is persuasive in some details, implausible in others, and is in any case false. I have 2 accounts of Nerevar's death here in my library. Read them, and judge for yourself.
Okay, never mind, he didn't admit that he murdered Nerevar. He denies that he murdered Nerevar. We can read the accounts if we wish. Why did you break your oath to Azura?
Along with Lord Nerevar, and at his insistence, Almalexia, Sopasil, and I swore before our god of oaths at the time, the Daedra Lord Azura, never to employ the tools of Kagranak for any purpose. We broke our oaths. We turned our backs on the old gods. I still see no compelling reason to worship any of the Aedra or Daedra. But, for the respect I held for Nerevar, and the respect I held for myself, I should never have betrayed my oath. Of all my life's actions, I most regret that failure.
Okay. So he does regret that he broke his oath, but he also says that he doesn't feel that he should be worshipping the Aedra and the Daedra, which is fair. Most of the Daedra are evil, and the Aedra, the good Daedra, well, who knows if they're actually good, or if they're just playing around. Who knows? It's hard to trust them. So I think this is kind of fair, even though that I'm sort of a champion of Azura currently. But it could be that she's just using me to get revenge on the tribunal. Who knows? Why did you cause others to suffer?
Why did I cause others to suffer? I respect that question, and you for it. The most I can say is, I did the best I could, as I saw things. Can you, mortal, presume to judge the actions and motives of a god? But, because I need you, and you need me, I will make an accounting for my sins to you. But not now. Destroy Dagathor, and then we will discuss my sins. Then, perhaps, you will have earned the right to judge me.
Okay, so after we defeat Dagathur, if we come back here, we can learn more about Vivec's sins, and then we'll have the right to judge him. Alright. That's something to do for the future.
You want to know, why did I wage war on the Nerevarine? Why did I try to suppress the Apocrypha? Why did I persecute the dissident priests? Why is Dagathor winning the war? How does the tribunal fight Dagathor? What are Wraithguard's powers?
Let's go in order. Why did you wage war on the Nerevarine?
Why did I try to kill you? Because you threatened the faith of my followers, and I needed their faith to hold back the darkness. And I thought you were my enemy, a pawn of the subtle Daedra Lord Azura, or a pawn of Emperor Uriel Septim, or a simple fraud, perhaps a hero, but not much of one if my faithful could destroy you. Now circumstances are altered. I need you, and you need me.
I mean, those are fair assessments. I'm basically a pawn of Azura, or a pawn of Uriel Septim, sent here to... basically to try and become the Nerevarine. Why did you suppress the Apocrypha, which is like the banned books and shit?
Why did I suppress the Apocrypha? Because it was such an unfortunate mixture of truth, falsehood, and speculation that I couldn't afford to manage the confused reaction of our faithful. Any doubt whatsoever weakened their faith, and we needed their faith to give us the power to maintain the ghost fence. In retrospect, perhaps we lost the faith of those we most needed while preserving the faith of the meek and indifferent. Perhaps a mistake was made. Who can say?
Got a point. It's hard to know whether or not this was a mistake or not. But it did basically split the faithful in half, the dissident priests and the ordinators and the faithful to the tribunal temple. So, why did you persecute the dissident priests?
Suppression and persecution of dissent is just one of the standard tools of statecraft. I believe we erred in trusting the judgment of Beryl Sala. He and his ordinators served valiantly in the war against Dagoth-Ur. We mistook his misplaced zeal for energy and dedication. Mistakes were made, but no more. There shall be no more persecution of the dissident priests, and I hope both sides shall swiftly be reconciled.
Yeah. Now that you're losing, you want to reconcile. Gotcha. So why is Dagoth-Ur winning?
Dagoth-Ur is winning because he is close to the source of power, Lorkhan's heart, and because he retains the passion of madness, while we have settled into the lonely and unrewarding posture of dogged dutifulness and perseverance. And finally, perhaps because he is stronger and smarter than we are, and his followers are more fervent and fanatical, I believe we were careless and complacent, and outwitted. And in the matter of denying the Nerevarine, we were foolish.
Admitting your mistakes. Good for you. So how does the tribunal fight Dagoth-Ur?
In the past, the tribunal made seasonal campaigns to Red Mountain. We slew Dagoth-Ur and his kin, though the heart always revived them in time. Later, when we realized we couldn't destroy them, we created the Ghost Fence to contain the threat. These solutions were effective until Dagoth-Ur ambushed us and captured Sunder and Keening. Since that time, our fortunes have waned as his increased.
My question is, if you had in your possession Sunder and Keening and Wraithguard, why did you not simply destroy the heart of Lorkhan while you were doing these seasonal campaigns? Maybe they didn't want to destroy the heart of Lorkhan for whatever reason. What are Wraithguard's powers?
Wraithguard's primary function is to protect the wearer from the fatal energies of the artifacts Sunder and Keening. It also has minor protective enchantments against physical and magical damage that you may find useful.
So yeah, Wraithguard's main function is to let you use these two artifacts, Sunder and Keening. By the way, I'm really hoping Keening is better than this Dragon's Blade I'm using. If it's not, I'm going to be extremely upset. But yeah, it's also got some protective enchantments, which will be nice because my current glove slots don't have anything on them. So let's see what it is when I'm done here. Let me ask some questions.
You are curious. What really happened at Red Mountain? What really happened to the Dwemer? What was the Dwemer's sin? What is it like to be a god? Do I remember being mortal? How do I feel about the people of Morrowind?
Well, we've already asked the first two, so what was the Dwemer's sin?
The sin of the Dwemer was the creation of a new god from the substance of a dead god, Lorcan. That is also the sin for which we would destroy Daggothur. I hesitate to call it sin. More properly, call it destructive evil. The sin of the tribunal, however, is in the breaking of an oath to Azura to forbear from tapping the heart with Kargranak's tools, and in the folly of seeking to become gods. Breaking the oath was evil, becoming gods was folly. If we sinned, we have paid the price.
So it's nice to see that they do regret becoming gods, but they are one, so they gotta deal with it. How does it feel to be a god?
It is like being a juggler. Things are always moving, and you learn to know where they are without even thinking about it. Only there are many, many things moving. And sometimes, like any juggler, you drop something. I'm afraid it has become a lot more a matter of dropping things lately. There's too much to do, and not enough time, and I'm losing my touch. Perhaps I'm growing old. It is a bit like being at once awake and asleep. Awake, I am here with you, thinking and talking. Asleep, I am very, very busy. Perhaps for other gods, the completely immortal ones, it is only like that being asleep, out of time. Me, I exist at once inside of time and outside of it. It's nice never being dead too. When I die in the world of time, then I'm completely asleep. I'm very much aware that all I have to do is choose to wake, and I'm alive again. Many times I have very deliberately tried to wait patiently, a very long, long time before choosing to wake up. And no matter how long it feels like I wait, it always appears when I wake up that no time has passed at all. That is the God place. The place out of time where everything is always happening, all at once.
Some interesting insights into how you would feel if you became a god. So much to do, too much to do, not enough time, being in time and out of time at the same time. It's kind of interesting. Good lore, this guy, by the way. Big fan of the lore of the Tribunal. So do you remember being mortal?
I remember. I do not feel it. I can, if I choose, remember the feeling, but I do not choose. It is very, very sad being mortal. There is happiness, yes, but mostly sadness. As I have said, count only the happy hours. For mortals, they're all too few. But for gods, for me, there is no more feeling, only knowing. Not quite no more feeling. I still want to win. I want to defeat Daggothur. Perhaps I have lost the feeling for the people, for their suffering. I don't want that feeling. It is no use to me. That is no longer what matters to me. I only want not to lose. To lose would be very, very bitter.
And just admitted that he does not feel his people suffering. He doesn't care about that anymore. It's no use to him. All he cares about is winning and defeating Dagathur. So how do you feel about the people of Morrowind?
I love the people of Morrowind. I became a god to make their lives more comfortable and secure. I am most close to my faithful followers. I am literally in their hearts and minds. I feel the most sympathy with House Redoran. They are Dunmer, driven by creeds and deeds like I am. House Indoril is closer to the compassion and sympathy of Almalexia. A comfortable and secure serenity. House Telvanni matches the disposition of my brother Sothasil. Iconoclastic, profane, unconventional. House Halalu represents the future of the Dunmer, integrated into the sophisticated mainstream of the traditionless, raceless, godless culture of the Empire. House Drez represents the past of pre-tribunal Great House culture, a persistent tradition of Daedra and ancestor worshipping civilized Dunmer clans. And I even love the Ashlanders for their preservation of the most ancient barbarian tribal traditions of the Dunmer who first settled Morrowind.
So even though he doesn't seem to care about his people's suffering, he does still love them in his own way. I believe that's everything. These two are things that we've already talked about before, but let's see if they open new dialogues.
Dagathor's plan summarizes what we know or suspect. You have a copy. It's also available in my library. I have given you a copy of my proposed plan. Read it, study it, commit it to memory.
Alright, so we have finally finished our conversation with the god Vivec. I didn't wait for him to do this little crisscross applesauce shit, but now we've got things to look at in our inventory. First of all, we have Wraithguard. It is a shield, it's a glove with shield 10, reflect 10, resist blight disease 50, which is useless, and then resist all of these magic types and poison, which is pretty cool. Magic kicks my ass, so having constant resistances to all of them is nice, and I need to fucking change my volume back, because that was really, really loud. I think I had it like around here somewhere. So yeah, now we have Wraithguard, and our armor went up because shield increases armor. So this is just strictly better than this Lunarite Gauntlet. This is a heavy armor, and it weighs a decent amount. But we can always bump our heavy armor up, just from training it a little, get this a little stronger. And we also have a document on Dagathur's plans, and a document on our plan to defeat Dagathur. So let's read this one first. And the following documents were prepared by temple scholars and agents of the Inquisition for Lord Vivec, from interrogation of captured sleepers and other six-house cultists, from study of manuscripts written by cultists and victims of dream-induced mania, from interviews with Lord Vivec concerning historical campaigns against Red Mountain, and from broad conjectures and inferences made upon these materials. This is our best estimate of Dagathur's motivations and objectives in this most recent phase of his war upon Morrowind. Basic objectives. Number 1. Establish a theocracy in Morrowind based on the worship of the newborn god Akulakan, second Numidium, to be created by Dagathur from the heart of Lorkhan, and a body constructed according to the principles and rituals pioneered by the Dwemer Kagnarak. Establish the ancient heirs of House Dagath as the god priests of Akulakan, and the sixth house of Dagathur as the dominant political power in Morrowind. Through charismatic conversation, unite the Dunmer under the guidance of Dagathur to battle against the foreign animals who hold Morrowind in subjugation. Note, Dagathur has apparently adopted the views and motivations of the Dwemer High Craft Lord Kagnarak. In effect, he recapitulates the ancient blasphemous folly of the Dwemer. I need to turn down the volume even more, because it's still loud. Okay. Number 2, expose the false worship of the tribunal and destroy the ecclesiastical authority and political power of the temple. Why are words so hard? I can't read, man. How much the dissident priests or the cult of the Nerevarine may be controlled or influenced by the Sixth House in this regard is open to speculation. Number 3, extirpate all remaining individuals of inferior and mongrel races from Morrowind. Extirpate? Why does this game use hard words, man? Use, like, remove. Remove's a word. Just use that one. Number 4, drive the Empire from Morrowind. Number 5, recover ancient territories stolen by Skyrim and Argonia. Number 6, extend the worship of Akulakan to all nations of Tamriel through subversion and conquest. Plans to establish and expand the Sixth House. Phase 1, secure Red Mountain against Tribunal intruders. Deny Tribunal access to the Heart, weakening the Temple, while securing Red Mountain for the creation of Akulakan. Keep the construction of Second Numidium a secret. Phase 2, create passive servants in ever-winding circles around Red Mountain by broadcasting compulsions coached in dream imagery to susceptible subjects in their sleep. Establish a major operational base at Coggaroon for further operations in the Ash Wastes. Establish smaller bases near small port villages and in lower-class waterfront districts in Vivec. Infiltrate and subvert smuggling syndicates. Recruit willing followers from disaffected populations, including the underworld, the poor, and the rabid anti-imperial activists. Phase 3, expand from smaller bases to other towns and villages and recruit and indoctrinate subjects made susceptible by dream sendings. Occupy abandoned towers and ruins and train corrupted cultists as raiders and irregular troops. Identify, discredit, and decimate possible sources of political resistance. Phase 4, use assassination and terror to weaken, distract, and disrupt the legions and the imperial bureaucracy along with their Hlalu sympathizers. Inspire popular uprisings of the native poor against the foreign rich and powerful. Summon sleepers and dreamers to Dagathur to work on Second Numidium. Inferring Dagathur's perspectives, Dagathur thinks on a large timescale, for the most part in the outside of timescale of the divine consciousness. He thinks that only obstacles of mythic scale are worth consideration. He believes he is fated to rule Morrowind, to free Morrowind of the Empire, and to become the new hard-loving father of Morrowind. Given that perspective, the only opposing forces Dagathur worries about are the Tribunal, the Daedra, the Emperor, and the Incarnate. With the Tribunal's loss of Sunder and Keening, and with the diminishing resources of Vivec, Almalexia, and Sotha-Sil, Dagathur believes he has permanently gained a decisive strategic advantage. On a mortal timescale, the battle may last for centuries, but the outcome is not in doubt, and Akulakan may be a device for dramatically reducing the timescale for a decisive victory. The myth of dynamic invincibility of the Emperor and the Empire has long been an unquantifiable and intimidating threat, but recent rumors of unrest in Cyrodiil, of the Emperor's failing health, and the unsettled question of the succession have diminished the scale of that threat. Nonetheless, the revelation that the Nerevarine is a pawn of Imperial intelligence, handpicked and sent to Morrowind by the Emperor himself, may cause Dagathur considerable anxiety. The Daedra represent no coherent obstacle to Dagathur. Nonetheless, their personal abilities and their influence upon the fanatic followers is considerable. Their motives and actions obscure, and Dagathur remains concerned about them. The Incarnate represents Saint Nerevar, a mythic force that has previously defeated Dagathur, and Dagathur is obsessed with this threat. At the same time, Dagathur knew Nerevar personally, knew that he was a mortal man with faults and weaknesses. Dagathur may have some hope of seducing or negotiating with Nerevar's reincarnation. Further, when Nerevar and the Tribunal defeated Dagathur, they were strong and allied. Now the Nerevarine and the Tribunal are weak, opposed, and divided. Therefore, though the Nerevarine and the Tribunal represent the most serious threat to Dagathur's plans, he still has good reason to believe that this time he will prevail. And here's a recent timescale of Dagathur's activities. Much of the following timescale is based on inference from incomplete information. So, before Second Era 882, Dagathur and his kin lie dreaming beneath the sills of Red Mountain. Second Era 882, Dagathur and his ash vampires awake, refreshed, and emerge from Lower Red Mountain into the Heart Chamber. Dagathur ritually binds himself and his brethren as Heart Whites in a ritual of his own devising. First stages of construction of Second Numidium, conceived during the Long Sleep, are begun by Heart Whites and Atronach constructs in a chamber near the heart of Lorkhan. Keeping the Second Numidium project a secret from the Tribunal is a high priority. Second Era 882, the Tribunal arrive at Red Mountain for their annual ritual bathing in the Heart's power. Dagathur and the Ash Vampires ambush the Tribunal. The Tribunes are driven away and prevented from restoring themselves with Kragrenek's tools at the Heart of Lorcan. So that's why they wanted to keep the Heart of Lorcan alive, so that they can bathe in its power and keep their divinity. Which is why they didn't kill it previously. Second Era 882 to Third Era 417, intermittent Tribunal campaigns assault Red Mountain. The Tribunal and supporting forces seek to force access to the Heart Chamber, but are repeatedly driven back. Dagathur recruits sleepers and dreamers through dream sendings. Cultists are recruited through dream compulsion. Weaker cultists become corpus beasts. Stronger cultists advance through stages towards the powers of the ascended sleepers. Third Era 400, Kogarun reoccupied by Dagathur Thal and fortified as an advanced base for Sixth House operations. Blightstorms more frequent and widespread. Soul sickness spreads in regions close to Red Mountain. Third Era 410. Sixth House bases founded near Narmak and in waterfront areas of Vivec. Sixth House operatives exploit smuggler organizations and communications to spread their influence among victims unbalanced by Dagathur's dream sendings. Third Era 415. Small cells of Sixth House cultists in every town in Vardenfell. Larger Sixth House operations are concealed in remote dungeons where creatures are bred and cultists are trained for the coming struggle. Third Era 417. Almalexia and Sothasil lose the artifacts Keening and Sunder to Dagath, Odros, and Vemin. Vivec rescues Almalexia and Sothasil, but failing to recover Keening and Sunder, the Tribunal retreat from Red Mountain in disorder. Surviving Brilliant Ormager companions know the Tribunal was forced to retreat, but do not know how serious a reversal the Tribunal has suffered. The three tribunes return to their respective capitals and continue to perform their ritual functions. Tribunes continue to grow weaker without access to the heart, and because of the resources required to support the ghost fence. The inner circle of the temple priesthood has begun to suspect the tribunes have suffered seriously from wounds and demoralization in the wake of reverses at Red Mountain, but do not recognize the scale of the problem. Third Era 426 to 427, campaign of Sixth House assassinations of prominent Imperial citizens and Tlalu Imperial sympathizers. Sudden increase in number and seriousness of attacks by cultists and victims deranged by soul sickness. Noted with concern, 1. Dagathur can apparently perceive and communicate directly through his cultists. Sleepers and dreamers are often reported speaking as though with Dagathur's voice and intention. Number 2. Little is known about the features, scale, or stage of the completion of Akulakan, the second Numidium. No one has gained entrance to the Heart Chamber since Second Era 282. In Third Era 417, Keening and Sunder were captured and can substantially aid in Akulakan's construction. So, they don't know whether Akulakan is close to completion or not, and in Dagathur's control are both Keening and Sunder, two of the things required to destroy the Heart of Lorcan. So, Sixth House is doing pretty good, and we need to stop him. The other thing we got was Vivec's plan to defeat Dagathur. For the past 20 years, the Tribunal have tried unsuccessfully to execute this plan. However, we failed because we were required to stage an assault and simultaneously maintain the Ghost Fence to prevent the threatened large-scale breakout of Dagathur's bladed hosts. With the Nerevarine leading the assault and the Tribunal free to devote their full energies to maintaining the Ghost Fence, this plan has a greater chance of success. Yeah, one guy is probably better than 3 gods, I'm sure. Unfortunately, however, the loss of the artifacts Sunder and Keening and the recent increase in Dagathur's strength poses new problems for the execution of the plan. Therefore, our proposed plan has the following 5 phases. A series of aggressive raids to scout inside the Ghost Fence, a series of aggressive raids to neutralize Dagathur's Ash Vampire kin and recover artifacts from the bodies of his kin, an assault on the Gate Citadel Vemiel to neutralize Dagath Vemian and recover the artifact Hammer Sunder, an assault of Gate Citadel Odrosol to neutralize Dagath Odros and recover the artifact Blade Keening, and an assault of Citadel Dagoth with the artifacts Wraithguard Sunder and Keening to sever Dagathur's connection to the Heart of Lorcan and thus destroy Dagathur. Phase 1. Raids inside the Ghost Fence. The Tribunal, Ordinators, and Buoyant Armigers are familiar with the terrain and will provide maps and current intelligence reports. The region inside the Ghost Fence is dangerous, and the Nerevarine will need to be familiar with its particular challenges. After measuring skills and resources against Dagathur's defenses, the Nerevarine will know better how to pace the campaign, alternating raids with improving skills, getting better equipment, and stockpiling resources. Almost sounds like a video game. Phase 2. Raid upon Ash Vampire Citadels. Dagathur's kin have become markedly more powerful in recent decades. After remaining stable for thousands of years, they can be individually isolated and destroyed. They will not be able to support Dagathur in later stages of the war. It may also mean that the dramatic increase in their power comes from items enchanted by Degather. Salvage of such items might contribute to our resources. Phase 3, Assault on the Gate Citadel Vemial. Essential to recover the artifact hammer Sunder for Phase 5. The Ash Vampire Dagoth Vemian has possession of Sunder and probably seeks to discover the secrets of its enchantments. We may also have access to notebooks and journals of Kagranak that have survived in the Dwemer workshops of Vemial. This is why I don't read, lore books, by the way, because this is a lot of words and my mouth is starting to be real dry. Phase 4, Assault on Gate Citadel Odrasol. Essential to recover the artifact blade Keening for Phase 5. The Ash Vampire Dagoth Odrus has possession of Keening and probably seeks to discover the secrets of its enchantments. He may also have access to notebooks and journals of Kagranak that have survived in the Dwemer workshops of Odrasol. Phase 5, Assault on Citadel Dagoth. All the previous stages are preparations for this stage. Recent expeditions show that Citadel Dagoth has undergone extensive expansion. The location will need to be explored carefully. The known route to the Heart Chamber will be well defended. Alternative routes may exist. Dagoth will have anticipated our plan to destroy him by attacking the Heart, and he will almost certainly personally oppose approach to the Heart Chamber. Together, the Tribunal could not defeat him, and he has grown stronger since then. Admittedly, the Tribunal had the distraction of maintaining the Ghost Fence simultaneously with fighting Dagoth, but even so, the challenge seems daunting. The adoption of this phase campaign seems to offer the best chances for success. In retrospect, the Tribunal's decision to directly assault Citadel Dagoth rather than proceed step by step through lesser objectives must be seen to have been a serious error. Tribunal did not feel it had the option of a slow-paced and deliberate campaign, given that they had many other competing priorities, not the least of which was the maintenance of the Ghost Fence, the outer defenses surrounding Red Mountain. The Nerevarine, on the other hand, should be the best served by a careful step-by-step advance, with the additional advantage of building confidence along the way, while successes would undermine Dagoth's own assurance in his defenses. Employing Kagranak's tools against Dagoth. The sword of Dagoth's supernatural power is the Heart of Lorkhan. The Heart is also the source of the Tribunal's divine powers. During mythic times, the gods took and hid Lorkhan's heart beneath Red Mountain as punishment for creating the mortal plane. The Dwemer discovered the heart while building the underground colonies. High Craft Lord Kagranak created enchanted tools intended to tap the power of the heart. The War of the First Citadel was fought to prevent this sacrilege. Kagranak's use of those tools and the disappearance of the Dwemer race marked the end of the war. Kagranak's tools were recovered by Lord Nerevar and Dagoth. Dagoth was left to guard the tools while Nerevar came to consult with us, his advisors. In Nerevar's absence, Dagoth experimented with the tools upon the heart and was corrupted. We returned to discover a deranged Dagoth who refused to turn over the tools when he attacked us. We drove him away. We left Red Mountain with the tools and subsequently south of Sill discovered their secrets. Collectively, we used the tools to establish a connection with the heart, enabling ourselves to transform our mortal natures. Thus we became the Tribunal. Dagoth had survived our attacks, and without the tools, in a manner not well understood, Dagoth also managed to establish a connection with the heart and transform himself into an immortal being. Our plan to destroy Dagoth also runs the risk of destroying the Tribunal. The plan is to permanently disrupt Kagranak's enchantments upon the heart, severing connections with Dagoth and ourselves and rendering us all once again mortal. A mortal Dagoth may then be destroyed by mundane means. The loss of godhood and the possible death of the Tribunal are judged a necessary risk and sacrifice. The normal procedure for establishing connection with the heart is a three-step process. The wearer of Wraithguard strikes the heart with the hammer Sunder, causing the heart to produce a pure tone. Then the wearer of the Wraithguard strikes the heart with the blade Keening, shattering the pure tone into a prism of tone shades. These tone shades are then imprisoned upon the substance of the wearer of Wraithguard, giving him an immortal and divine nature. The Nerevarine will not be taught the secret rituals required to perform the third step. Instead, the Nerevarine will strike the heart with Keening for a second time, causing its tones to diverge into unstable patterns of interference. Further repeating strikes with Keening will further disrupt the tones, with the ultimate result of shattering and dispelling Kagranak's original enchantments, binding the heart, thereby severing the heart's links with Dagoth and with any surviving heart rights, and with the Tribunal. Destroying Kagranak's enchantments on the heart will also stop the corrupt effusion of the heart's divine power and end the blight on Morrowind. The Nerevarine may be tempted to steal the power of the heart. Dagoth and Silthasil alone know this secret. Dagoth may, in extremity, propose to teach the Nerevarine to use Kagranak's tools to become a god. We doubt that the Nerevarine is fool enough to trust Dagoth and are content to take this risk. Be warned, the Nerevarine cannot safely equip either Keening or Sunder unless wearing Wraithguard. The Nerevarine will be injured every moment while holding either of these artifacts unless protected by Wraithguard. Persistence will be rewarded with death. If Nerevarine can equip an item while not wearing the Wraithguard and receive no injury, the item is a counterfeit. One last note, Dagathur must not get hold of the Wraithguard. The Nerevarine must prepare and use a recall or Almcivi intervention if there is any risk of death or capture. Dagathur will not expect you to destroy Kagernek's enchantments on the heart. He does not know it is possible, he would not do it himself, and he knows we would never have tried it. He will not believe anyone would want to sacrifice the promise of such power. Further, advancement in House Dagath, as in all great houses, is by challenge and confrontation within the hierarchy. The Nerevarine challenges and defeats of Ash vampires in battle with the Sixth House will be viewed in that light. Dagathur and his kin may assume the Nerevarine ambition is to control the heart. Given that assumption, it is only reasonable that the Nerevarine will try to defeat each of Dagathur's subordinates in turn, working up to Dagathur. If the Nerevarine can defeat Dagathur and control the heart, so much the better. Logically, the Nerevarine would wish to rise as high in the hierarchy as possible before cutting a deal with the head of the house. Dagathur should try to recruit the Nerevarine into House Dagoth. It may be possible to pretend to join him, then betray him. However, any attempt to deceive him will be very risky. House Dagoth has a tradition of subterfuge and treachery. Because he is a deceiver, he will expect deception. We place no compulsion upon the Nerevarine to adhere to the plans described here. We believe that they offer the best chance of destroying Dagathur, but we have also chosen to place our trust in the Nerevarines' judgment and skill. Frankly, we see no alternative. If there are any doubts and questions, speak with Vivec. He has agreed to serve as the Nerevarines' guide and counselor for this campaign. It may be that if the Nerevarine succeeds, the Tribunal will not survive. Such sentiments as might have been expressed to the Tribunal should, in that case, be addressed to the land and people of Morrowind. May the happy convergence of fortune and prayer meet in our destiny. On behalf of Lady Almalexia and Lord Sothasil, Vivec. So I just read a lot of shit for a long time. I'm not reading any of the other books in here. At all. Like, you can't make me. So these plans and stuff are basically fail-safes in case you kill Vivec, which is technically possible to do. I've never managed to do it myself. He's very hard. And if you kill Vivec, you need to learn how to use Wraithguard a different way, which I will not explain currently. I just heard random death noises. Anyways, that's going to do it for today. Bit of a long one, but we did get a big old lore dump, so it makes sense. Next time, we're not going to be continuing with the main quest, because I feel like the best way to end this series would be to beat the game. It is possible to continue playing Morrowind after you have finished, after you've defeated Dagathur, but I feel like that's a good, end point. I don't want to go defeat Dagathur, beat the game, save the world, and then have, another 50 to 60 episodes of me just doing, side questing. It feels off to do that. Maybe I'll change my mind at some point, but for now, I think that that's the plan. I think that we're not going to be going back to the main quest for a very, very long time. And that's okay. We can do more side questing. We can do the expansions. We can do some guild stuff that we haven't done in a while. The world's our oyster. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.